You are listening to the Guru Code podcast with me, Liz Smith. I would like to welcome you to the Hygge Hut, home of the Guru Company, where it's all about you, growing you, and recognising the real you. It's where we seek to challenge the real issues, problems, blocks, the blind spots which hold so many of us back from leading fearlessly. We want to talk about those topics which are rarely discussed openly in the business world, but are familiar to most of us. Okay, so what's our podcast for today? Well, the title is Yes, Your Mind Needs Exercise Too. And please don't roll your eyes. I promise you, this is not anything to do with the gym, because a gentle stroll and maybe a bike ride is probably about my limit. But there has been a lot of emphasis on the need to get out and about, to take that regular exercise, and the health benefits of your mental health and well-being have been sort of almost pushed daily at us, hasn't it? And for your immune system. But it's been used almost like a tagline to all the physical health needs, or a throwaway comment, rather than seeing it as actually probably the central part of people's health. Now, for us, the number one reason for people turning their back on business, or turning their back on their career, or, not enjoying leadership, comes down to their mindset. So as leaders in business, it's not enough to have the physical strength and energy of a 2-year-old, but it's not enough to have the knowledge and skills either. The true success of our leadership will always only ever come from our mindset. So it governs our approach to the task in hand, but it also changes our whole attitude and our approach to how people perceive us, and how we relate to them, and how we communicate with them, and the decisions that we need to take and make, because the whole weight is on us, isn't it? The onus is on us. So you can be the next Usain Bolt, Isaac Newton of this world, but if your mindset is coming firmly and truly placed and well wedded to the world of a Homer Simpson or your comfort zone, the world is unlikely to ever hear about you, let alone your stuff. So I want to introduce Les Brown. Les Brown is one of my top 10 favourite motivational speakers, and he was the one that said, the graveyard is the richest place on earth. It's where you'll find the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, and the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered. And it's all because someone was too afraid to take a step outside of their comfort zone. And he is right. You see, mindset is the result of past experiences and the unconscious beliefs that we have formed to make sense of the situation. So just remember that these experiences will all be emotionally charged. They'll all have an emotion attached to them. Otherwise, they'd be so unremarkable that we would delete them from our memory banks. So is it any wonder then that, especially at those peak times when we need clarity, that we find ourselves in a mental maze? We grasp for those clues as if they're going to give us a new way of reaching our goals. We think it's impossible. Like Henry Ford said, it is impossible, because we're using outdated information from our mindsets that we've never updated. If you're like me, and I do spend quite a lot of time on YouTube when it comes to tech, so how to do X, Y, and Z, and you find these clips of amazing people. They match your search completely, and they show you exactly what to do step by step. The only trouble is their system's 5 years old, and it bears no resemblance at all to the program you're using now. This is no different from your mindset. We are searching for answers to new challenges using old guidance. But saying all of that, I don't want you to dismiss right out of the park all those past experiences, however apparently embarrassing, crushing, terrifying, unpleasant and painful, the ones that you really desperately wish had never happened and you do try and forget, because they all provide a rich ground for learning and growth. So we need to look at them and we need to take them on board. And that always reminds me of another quote that I've used over and over again for those occasions when I've had a less than fragrant outcome. And that is, it takes a lot of manure to grow show roses. So remember that. The more muck that you can throw about, the better your crop will be. However, if you choose, and it is a choice, and it is a complete choice, to build a belief around an experience as a protective barrier, and I do not judge there because I get it, but it is highly unlikely that you're going to be suffocating the most amazing, how can I put it, the most amazing blossoming wisdom of fruits that you were ever likely to see or own, just by building that protective barrier around so you don't make the same mistake or a similar mistake again. You see, investing those clearing that type of mindset and rewiring it will enable you to refine your philosophy towards your leadership. Let's put it that way. It's a nice way of putting it. Refine your philosophy towards your leadership. Even our mobile phones update the software regularly. These small, insignificant bits of machinery that we carry around with us and rely on it, they update their software regularly. Why? So they are working at peak performance. So why are we not doing our minds? See, just like any muscle, and yes, your mind is a muscle, it only serves you well if it is used properly and to its full potential. It needs to be exercised and stretched because there is less risk of damage, and thereby your resilience will be increased. Your emotional resilience is what we're talking about. Just like an athlete warms up before a performance to prevent muscle injury, as in physical injury, it's exactly what we need to be doing with our minds. And there are so many ways to do this. And if you're listening to this podcast, then this is the workout. This is like your baseline workout. You see, you didn't even have to get out of breath, let alone break into a sweat. It's my type of exercise. You see, the events of last year have been momentous, and the opportunities to exercise our leadership on a hamster wheel rather than a circuit training has been more, it's been more real, hasn't it, really? But I'm interested in just how it's been for you. What has your experience been of leading your business through these unsettled times and uncharted waters? You see, I've spoken to business leaders in my network who have likened it to cycling without having a chain on. And this comes down to one particular person that I was talking to. And, there was another one who I can only sum up as battening down the hatches to survive in survival mode. Now, whichever your approach was, it's only when you do the exploration that you can actually find out the rationale behind it and what it is that's driving it. And I did this, so I wanted to share it with you to make it real, I suppose, because the first approach, the one that's pedaling like crazy without the cycle chain on, is admirable. All the effort, determination, true grit, the perseverance not to be beaten. You have to take your hat off. But when I explored even deeper with my client, it transpired that although his efforts were absolutely right, the true grit to keep going was good, actually it was being fueled from a mindset of determination to remain in his comfort zone, to remain true to his and faithful to his business model, rather than risking something new. Now, I'm not saying he won't be fine and recover, but the world has moved on rapidly. And my question is, has he? You see, time will tell and we have more work to do. But I just want to highlight that it's that physical ability just to keep going is great. But the mindset we needed was to stop, have the mind the presence to stop and just take a look and reconsider direction. because I think they would have paid off really, really well. Now, I have no judgment between either of them, because as you can see, if you're cycling without a chain on, or you're sticking your head in the sand and waiting for it all to be over, you're probably ending up in exactly the same stage when you come out at the other end. When all of this lifts, as of today, they're probably in no different situation than each other. There is no other life form on this earth that can alter the course of their life, their destination, only us. A monkey will only ever be a monkey. A dog will only ever be a dog. However cute and well trained to do all the other bits and pieces that we do, they will only ever be that. So we need to not be giving away the greatest gift of all. The number one most valuable business asset is your mindset. Jim Rohn, also one of my top 10, brilliant. It actually landed a brilliant question, and it's one of my... It's going to go into that book. You know that book that you're yet to publish? Well, my book's going to be called The Book of Life-Changing Questions. But Jim said, if you kept the same pace of life as you are today, where will you arrive in 5 years' time? I'll just let that sink in for a minute. Because how you answer that question might just give you the aha moment that you need. Shall I repeat it for you? If you kept the same pace of life that you are today, where will you be, or where will you arrive in 5 years' time? See, I don't think we should be taking any opportunities for granted. The whole world has shifted in an extraordinary way. And whether we're in pace with it or not is a choice. Are you in pace with it? Bob Proctor said, oh God, 3 of my top 10 speakers, and I was sharing it, 3 of them in one sitting. I must be feeling incredibly generous. However, joking aside, he said your dedication to change and personal growth is reflected in your calendar and your bank balance. So your mindset as a leader being your number one highest value business asset, how much emphasis are you placing on getting it into prime condition? You change your mobile phone often enough, you'll change your computers often enough. How much emphasis are you placing on getting your mindset right? See, if you looked at your calendar now and your bank balance, what would it tell you? What investment is written down that's tangible? See, I think there's 3 tiers of mindset, okay? 1 is the freebies, the self-help guides, the books, the blogs, the pods, those that are starting out in this world, dipping their toe into the water, asking themselves, is this for me? Am I worth the investment? And that's a big one. Am I worth the investment? Listen to that mindset. Am I worth it? Do I believe in what I'm doing? So that's that first base level where we start searching and we start just tentative steps, just looking out there. And then there's the middle group. Now the middle group, they're group memberships, they're group trainings and coaching. All right. These are for the people who are serious but still finding what is it that they seek. You know, this is the ground clearance. This is the boundary, the boundary scouting, if you like. This is the place where you need to research what is within our boundaries, what's within my scope, what's actually possible. You know, when you start building a project or something, you need to know the size, you need to know the landscape, how the landscape lies. And I'm in group programs because I like that multifaceted learning that you get from other people. Not just your coach, but the other people around you. It's really healthy. But then you have the next set. These are those who are serious and focused on where they want to be. Just what can they squeeze out of life? What can they squeeze out of where they're going? They've had enough of exercising in the gym. They want to be pushed. They want that one-to-one to push them to gain limitless boundaries. We've given up on boundary scouting. We know where our boundaries are at the moment and we can see beyond them. They're these ones, okay? That's who belongs in this group. They're the ones that want to be taken outside of their comfort zone. So I would ask you, where are you? And what do you need for 2021 and beyond? Now, before I just leave you, I want to just extend an invitation to you to join with me and only 10 others on a one-to-one virtual retreat on Friday the 23rd of April 2021 to work on exercising and clearing that landscape, clearing that mindset out, updating that software. It's only £197 for the whole day, completely whole day. There's a great gift that's going to come to you that's included so that you've got everything you need to make the day a great experience, all-round experience. I've thrown in a launch bonus of a one-to-one session with me after the day to embed what we've gone through and your thinking and your plans and any areas that you just want to go over and really get firmly into the muscle, if you like. And it'd be wonderful to spend the day with you, so let me know if you can make it. I'm going to pop the link in below. And genuinely, I hope you found some nuggets of inspiration in this podcast, and I'd love to hear what your experience was, what your take-homes have been, or perhaps, if there's something that was missing that you would have appreciated me mentioning. Anyway, thank you so much for your time.